How's it going, everybody? My name is Shot Props, also known as Jordan. Joining me today, we have at Drew Jitsu of the BettorWays Discord and FTN Bets. And today, Drew is sharing his expert UFC picks as we break down UFC 286, Edwards vs. Usman 3. Drew, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited. We're here again. I didn't think we'd be here so soon, but here we are talking another great card, and it's my favorite fighter. Well, one of them, Leon Edwards. So let's go.
Terrific, terrific. So what we're going to do is just run through this card. If Drew has a play, he's going to drop all the information you need to know. And on fights he doesn't have a play, he's going to give you a quick little tidbit that you might be able to use as well. Drew, are you ready to get into it?
Let's get going, man. First fight of the night. So we have Juliana Miller and Veronica Hardy. On this one, I don't really have a play per se, but if I had to lean and I want you to sprinkle a little money on it, which I might do it, Juliana Miller by sub. Let's go.
Perfect.
Moving on. So this one, I do have a plan because I have Klein in one of my parlays. Jai Herbert is good. Jai Herbert is long. He's big. You can obviously see the height discrepancy here and the reach. He has a 5-inch reach and a height reach, but he has a weak chin. So give me Klein to out wrestle him and just get the dub. Let's move it. Moving on up.
All right, Wood versus
And now we
Carolina.
have Joanne Wood and Luana. Yep. So Joanne Wood in this one is the favorite. Luana Carolina is dangerous, but I don't have a bet. If I had a lean, I'd go Wood. Moving right up the card. So this one is one of my favorite plays on the card. Jake Hadley versus Malcolm Gordon. Hadley's really good. Hadley's very seasoned, and he's fighting in front of a home crowd. He's new to the UFC, but he's not new to the cage, and he's not new to the scene. Malcolm Gordon has been in the UFC a little bit longer than him. Both these guys are very durable. I have Hadley in a parlay, and my favorite straight play for this one is this fight to go over 1.5 rounds, as both these fighters average nearly like 10 minutes of fight time, so it's pretty good. So for this one, I'm going to go with Hadley Gordon over 1.5 rounds. I have it at 1 unit. I think that's fair. I think that's good. And considering I also have him in a parlay for 2 units, we should be all right.
Love it. All right, moving on to our next play. Oh, not a play. My apologies.
It's okay. It's okay. So this one like almost breaks my heart. Christian Leroy Duncan versus one of my favorite fighters, or one of my favorite fighters to watch, is Dusko Todorovic. Dusko has a lot of promise. Dusko has fought some big names. I love his style. He's always out there to bang. He's always out there looking for a finish. But every time you watch him fight, he looks drunk because he's always getting blasted. He's very durable. He's very durable. I'll give him that. But in fights where he looks like he has control, he has all the tools. He gets hit once, gets flashed, dropped or something, and then yeah. I'm just gonna go with Christian Leroy Duncan, even though I've probably seen limited tape on him, but I just know Dusko and I know his habits, and he'll probably get knocked out. So onwards. So Lerone Murphy and Gabriel Santos. So this one, when I did the tape study on, I almost had an official play on it. But both these guys have some questionables. Like Lerone Murphy, he's good, but as soon as he gets taken down, he kind of gets flattened out a lot of the time. He's athletic enough to get up, but I'm not sure if he can do that. I see a lot of people on him as a favorite. If I had to lean anyway, which if we're up after a couple plays, which I think we will be, I'll probably lean Gabriel Santos as the dog. So if you're dog hunting, that's probably a live dog right there. And here we have the UFC's brightest star and newest shiny toy, Mohamed Mokaev versus Jafel Fihol. So Jafel's making his debut. He made his debut on the Contender Series. He put someone into the Shadow Realm, and made the bosses happy, and this is why he's here. Now, It sucks that he's up against Mokaev, but he's up against an injured Mokaev. So for that reason, one of my favorite plays is that for Mokaev to go over 1.5 rounds. Now, because of his injury and because he, we don't know the extent of it, I don't think he's going to come out firing the way he usually does. Yeah, he might be hot in the first round, but I think he might gauge where exactly his injury, how it feels. So for that reason, I'm going to go over 1.5 rounds here. And I think it's safe because Jafel can also grapple. But Jafel likes to take risks. And that's why I think that once he takes those risks, that's where Mokaev, who is a very, very smart fighter, has a high IQ, and for only 22 years old, is very wise beyond his years. He can find a finish because Jafel taking those risks will probably overextend, overreach, and end up on his back or with Mokaev on his back and getting subbed. Because when you have an injury, you want to take the path of least resistance. I don't think he wants to throw blows. I think he wants to grapple. Might be tough to hold down Jafel at first, but Mokaev can wrestle, and he'll get it done. So 2 plays over 1.5 rounds. And so all we got to do is get to the 7-minute mark, like Gianni likes to say. And Mokaev gets it done inside the distance. Let's roll.
Very nice. 2 plays on the first fight of this portion of the card.
Okay, so Sam Patterson versus Yanal Ashmus. So everyone's very high on Yanal Ashmus. I'm high on neither of these guys. Good stories, great fighters. Gun to my head, I'll probably be dead, but I'm going with Sam Patterson. So let's just move on. I don't want to think about this one. Okay, perhaps my favorite fight on the card, well, one of them, is this chaotic encounter between Chris Duncan and Omar Morales. Chris Duncan, in my opinion, is just the better fighter here. Omar Morales, I think, is damaged goods. He's a really good fighter. He's Venezuelan. I'm Venezuelan, so I kind of have some pride with that. But yeah, Chris Duncan is just a better MMA fighter here. The difference here, the biggest difference, is who's more durable because they're both athletes. They both can bang. They both can do MMA well. But the durability of Morales is very, very. It's a liability, plainly put. And Chris Duncan can walk through that fire. Chris Duncan has been blasted. I mean, as a matter of fact, on his Contender Series debut, he should have been finished, but he withstood it. He walked through the fire, and he put his opponent through the mat. Like he made Dana White jump out of his chair. So for that reason, I'm going to lean with Chris Duncan and his durability to put Omar Morales into the front row. So let's move on.
Whoa, sorry. Let me go back here. This is our last prelim.
It's okay. So this is the feature prelim, and Jack Shore is one of the pieces in my parlay, one of the 2U parlays. Makwan Amirkhani is probably the owner of the best Tapology picture in the world. When you get a chance, Jordan, take a look at that. Jack Shore will find the finish in this fight. The reason is because Makwan, just like I mentioned before, is at the tail end of his career. He's always an exciting fight. He's always looking for a finish. He can wrestle. But he seems to always get in trouble. He comes out hot. He has good first rounds, and then gets put away either in the second or the third round or even in the first. But usually Makwan comes out good. He tries to wrestle. But the minute he tries to exchange, the minute he tries to take risks, that's where I think Jack Shore can capitalize. That's where I think Jack Shore, the better fighter, the better calculated fighter in this matchup. Not saying Makwan's not well-rounded, but Makwan has a clear path. He wants to wrestle. Jack Shore, on the other hand, can do it all. He can wrestle, he can grapple, and he can strike. He can crack. So for that reason, I'm going to side with Jack Shore. He's on home soil. Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer here. So again, I have Jack Shore and the 2U parlay, and I have him here with the inside the distance, either KO or sub, depending on the book that you can find it in.
Okay, very nice. So we're taking the versatile fighter to finish this fight.
Yep, yep.
All right, moving on to the good stuff, the main card.
Oh, baby.
So first up, we're going to take a quick look at this breakdown here, and then we're going to jump into some detailed stats. So why don't you set up the fight, and then we'll jump into the numbers.
Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze. This fight, I see a lot of people going with Roman Dolidze. I can understand why. He's had a couple finishes in his last couple fights. He has a 2-inch reach advantage in height and in reach. He has a fight time of 9 minutes, so you can tell he goes in there to finish. But he's up against Marvin Vettori, who is very tactical, very technical, and has a fight time of 16 minutes and 27 seconds. Now you're saying, well, it's only a 15-minute fight. Why does he have that? Well, it's because he's fought a lot of 5-round fights. I mean, he's fought the top of the division a couple times already. He's fought for the belt. He's fought the best that you can give him. And I don't think Roman is the best that you can give him, simply put. Marvin Vettori has a knack for, dominating his fights. He doesn't, he has knockout power. Anybody has knockout power with 4-ounce gloves on. But Marvin Vettori is more of a guy who just likes to dominate. He'll be in and out with his movement. He can wrestle. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. Roman can grapple. I give him that. But if you scroll down a little bit, Roman's takedown defense is only 33%. For a guy who averages pretty much 2 takedowns per 15 minutes, that's a guy who likes to bang and then looks for the takedown when either he's hurt or to pretty much hump you like he did. I forget who it was. Oh, against Staropoli, which he just kept Staropoli up against the fence, stayed behind him so he couldn't hit him, and then just pretty much laid on him. I don't understand why Keith Peterson didn't separate him, but it is what it is. I don't think he'll be able to do that to Marvin Vettori here. I think Marvin Vettori will take some shots as he always does, because as you can see, he does absorb, almost 4 strikes per minute, but he dishes out the same. And now when you talk about Dolidze, he dishes out about 2 strikes per minute, but those 2 strikes are power shots, boom, to a takedown, or power shots during an exchange. I mean, I can go on for days about why I think Marvin Vettori is just simply better. But the main factor is that Marvin Vettori has the experience at the highest level where Dolidze is still trying to reach. So give me the more experienced fighter here, the guy who's been through fire already. Against, a very tough challenge, as everyone is in the UFC. But I think the experience is the biggest factor. And my favorite play here is for Marvin Vettori to win by points.
Perfect. Nice start to the main card. Moving on, we've got Gunner taking on Brian, and that's the best I can do.
I got you. So we got Gunny Nelson versus Brian Barberena. So Brian Barberena has been recently a legend hunter as he's killing off all these old legends. They're retiring after he fights them. He's been a dog in a couple of his fights, so him being a dog in this fight doesn't really surprise me. I don't think it surprises him either. But his quality is that he is very durable. And in most of these fights, whether he's down, whether he's trading, he looks for the violence and he doesn't shy away from it. But in this matchup against Gunny Nelson, he's going up against a guy who, in the same respect, also takes risks and has paid for it in the past. And that's probably why we haven't seen him rise to the top as quick as he'd like. But in the exchanges and where it matters and why I think he's going to win this fight is because he's going to take this fight to the ground. He's not going to want to exchange with Brian Barberena. Now, Brian Barberena does have a high output, nearly 6 strikes per minute, but he also has a high absorb rate. So he's dishing it out, but he's taking it. And that's not good when you're going up against Gunnar Nelson, who can crack. Now, Gunnar doesn't really strike a lot, as you can see, barely throws almost 2 strikes per minute, but he does grapple. And when he grapples and gets you to the ground, that's where the show starts, because he's almost attempting one submission pretty much per 15 minutes. And that one submission is pretty much what finishes the fights. Now, in this fight, if you look at Brian Barberena's losses in the past, a high percentage of his losses come by submission. So with that being said, against a guy who is a submission specialist, people talk about Dolidze competing at ADCC, but Gunnar Nelson's past is competing at the highest levels of jiu-jitsu, IBJJF, ADCC. So look for Gunnar Nelson to be smart, play technical, play tactical, and finish this fight within 2 rounds, either the first or second round. But I'm going to be safe, and I'm going to go with KO, TKO, or sub, and he just wins inside the distance because I don't think this fight goes to the judges either.
Very nice. We're getting Nelson to finish this fight. Awesome. Moving on to our next main. Actually, I think we've got
Jennifer Maia
one main
versus
event.
Casey O'Neill. So everyone's on King Casey. Jennifer Maia just looks old. So I'm going to go with King Casey. Let's move on.
Perfect. Next up, co-main event, I think.
Wait, go back one. Let me see something.
Here.
Up one, sir. Let's go on this page. Yep, it's time. It's time. Justin Gaethje versus Rafa Fiziev. Well, Atman. I just call him Fizzy. All right. So this fight is probably the main event in a lot of people's eyes. I know we have a good main event, but this one could be fight of the year. And I even say it in my breakdown. Like, there's not a lot of fights that you can be like, oh, this one's going to be fight of the night. Yeah, no, this one could be fight of the year. So Justin Gaethje, let's lay out some stats. 9 fight win bonuses in his first 7 fights. That's crazy. So it's probably a record that's not going to be broken. He says it. He said it all week on his breakdown. But in this fight, in my opinion, he's going up against, let's just say, a better version of himself. So every time you watch Justin Gaethje fight, he's controlled chaos. He loves to bang. He loves to strike. And he will knock your block off if you attempt to strike with him. Quality, in my opinion, is his durability. Because if you see his strikes landed per minute, it's nearly 8 strikes landed per minute. But then if you see the strikes absorbed per minute, it's nearly 8 strikes absorbed per minute. That's not good against some very accurate Rafa Fiziev. Like, Fiziev is, when you want to talk about snipers or, technical strikers, he's probably one of the best in the UFC. I'm not even going to say his division. He's probably one of the best in the UFC as a striker. That's not, you can find others probably to agree with me. And if you want to argue, I can argue with you all day. He's a coach at Tiger Muay Thai, where hundreds, if not thousands, upon fighters go there to learn Muay Thai, to learn striking, to learn wrestling. So not only is he a coach there, but he's in a room full of killers all year round. Fighters like Khamzat Chimaev, fighters like, you name it, Petr Yan, even though he just got his ass kicked by Merab. But fighters like that, top talent. And if you want to scroll down a little bit more, one of the most glaring factors in this fight, he has a 92% takedown defense. So if you watch these embedded videos, right, you see Justin Gaethje using a lot of leg kicks. So it's obvious he's going to try to take that movement away using leg kicks because Fiziev can move. So how do you take away movement? You take away that front leg. And Fiziev in his tapes has been compromised in the past, but I think he's a fighter that is well off enough to mitigate that in a 3-round fight. In a 5-round fight, it's a little bit different. You're weared out in waters you've never been, i.e. the 4th and 5th round. But I digress. Going back to the takedown defense, Justin also has been seen to practice wrestling, which I assume if he wants to try to mix it up, he's going to try to wrestle a little bit here. But a 92% takedown defense, like the only other person who has a better takedown defense is Usman. Usman has a 95% takedown defense, 97 or something like that. So I don't think Justin's going to take him down. And Justin, even though he's calculated and even though he's been fighting a little bit smarter and patient, he still is chaotic. He brawls. He still throws in the pocket. He still throws a beautiful uppercut. But in the middle of that uppercut, he can get head kicked. He can get countered. And if you watch Fiziev, that's exactly what he does. Fiziev doesn't have a high output compared to Justin. Justin has nearly 8 strikes landed per minute. But Fiziev is very calculated. Fiziev uses his strikes smart. Fiziev uses that counter to pretty much end people's nights. Now, A couple plays that I like for this one. Fiziev to end in round 3 or decision, and that's because of Justin's durability and me assuming that Justin's game plan is going to be a little bit more calculated than he has in the past. But with the same respect, I still expect Justin to be Justin, and when the blood starts flowing, I expect him to start banging. And when that happens, I expect Fiziev to be drooling and to catch Justin sleeping. So I'm also going with KO or TKO sub because Fiziev, most of his knockouts in his career have come in the first round. And after the first round, he seems to taper off because, yeah, he might be up in the first round, but he's also very muscular. He moves a lot. So he has to limit his gas tank. So if we don't get to the third round because Fiziev just blasts Justin into another dimension, we can just go with Fiziev by KO TKO at sub at plus 115. And both plays, I believe, are at plus money. So
yeah, plus 145, plus 115 there. So you have some upside that both can hit, but a bit of protection that we expect one of two to hit.
Exactly.
Based on the fight.
Yep.
Awesome.
I mean, best case scenario is Fiziev finishes him in the third and we cash both bets. And I believe, do I have him in the parlay for the main card?
We do. We have him finishing just money line.
So there you go. So we're covered. Yeah, so we're covered in all bases, pretty much.
Perfect. And now it's time.
Oh boy. Leon Edwards. Yeah, Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman. These are literally, you don't really get this type of fight. I don't think I've ever seen it. So let me lay out some stats. First time they fight, 2015, Leon Edwards loses. He hasn't lost since, literally. Kamaru Usman, first time he lost was last year. First time he got taken down was last year. First person to do both was Leon Edwards.
Wow.
So a couple things that I noticed, besides the fact that these guys are both each other's, I guess, kryptonite, is that in the first fight, Leon fought with more confidence. Leon fought just another guy. He didn't fight a champion. He didn't fight someone he feared. He fought just another guy, someone who could wrestle. And he fought wrestlers before he fought Usman. He had put wrestlers away. Because as I said, he hadn't lost until he met Usman. So when he sees Usman in that first fight, he does well. He grapples, he gets underhooks, he gets taken down, but he gets back up, and he strikes with Usman. He has confidence with Usman. Okay, second fight. First round, what do we see? The same fighter that we saw in the first fight. But this time, Usman's a champion. This time, Usman is the Nigerian nightmare. He's not that guy back in 2015. And Leon still has a good first round, takes him down, dominates him, takes his back. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but I'm sure, the control was enough. But I think that is where he hit his wall. He had an adrenaline dump, in my opinion. Now, this is me speaking as an athlete. This is me speaking maybe a little bit of narrative. But if you've ever been in an exchange, a grappling exchange, a fight, whatever, you reach a wall or you hit a wall if you're not conditioned enough, or even if you are conditioned enough, it can happen where you just blow your load. And I think Leon did that in the first round. He dominated so much because when they stood up, you could see a little bit of doubt in Usman, like, damn, I didn't expect that. And Leon, where he should have been more confident, looked gassed, looked tired. So, in my opinion, after that first round, if you keep watching the fight, boom, now you see Usman get the takedown, he gets his confidence back, Leon starts to fade. He looks dejected in the corners. Everyone thinks he's giving up. But in my opinion, I just think he's gassed, man. He has nothing in the tank. And he's getting beat up. Now, fifth round comes, you see the clip that everyone sees and on the internet where his coach, come on, Rock, we need it. And he bigs him up and then he finds the head kick. Boom. All right. Confidence restored. Now, in my opinion, in this matchup, we're going to see the best Leon and the best Kamaru that we've ever seen ever. This is a trilogy, right? First fight, Usman took it to him. built the confidence. Second fight, first round, Leon was like, nah. Usman was like, nah, I'm better, and proved it to him until he got his head knocked off. Now, Leon knows fighting somebody for a third time, he knows what you can do. He's felt you already, right? He knows he can knock you out. And let's talk about how Kamaru has never been knocked out. And even Khabib said it, after you're knocked out, you're not the same fighter anymore. Because it places a little bit of doubt in somewhere in your mind, like, if he connects well enough, he can put my lights out. And Kamaru did damage on Leon in that last fight. And he didn't damage him enough to wobble him. He didn't damage him enough to put him away. He was just beating up a punching bag because the guy couldn't fight back. He was tired. But again, this is me. This is my own opinion. In the comments, you can berate me, whatever, but it doesn't matter. Because last time I cashed a lot of tickets. And this time I think I'm going to do the same, because I think we're going to get a Leon full of confidence, fighting in front of a home crowd. And in my honest opinion, with nothing to lose, the pressure, in my opinion, is on Usman, who's supposed to win, who's supposed to get this dub, because he was 1 minute away from winning the last time. And Leon, quote unquote, just hit a game-winning shot. But I don't think that's going to be the case this time. Yeah, Leon will, get taken down a couple times, probably. That's what Kamaru wants to do. But I think we're going to get a more competitive fight. I think Kamaru met his match. He has met his match. This is the guy who can beat him. This is the guy who beat him. This is the guy who can do everything that no one else can do to Usman. So I expect a sharp Usman, but I think Leon gets it in the end. And I also think this fight goes the distance, which is another bet that I put up for this fight.
Awesome. Two bets.
Because I don't think either guy wants to lose. And I think in those moments, yep, 2 bets.
There we go.
There it is.
Okay, so that's their main event wrapped up. And we also have 2 parlays to touch on real quick. You referenced them going throughout, but let's throw them on screen. And if you have anything you want to add, the floor will be yours. So first up, our undercard parlay, or the prelim parlay.
Yep. So this is, you take the chalk, put it all together, make a little plus money, and take it to the cash window. I think these fights are, they're going to be competitive. They're going to be good. But in the end, I think they should all cash with ease. And that should bring us some money if the straight bets, look a little wonky for the prelims.
Simple enough. And our main card parlay is looking like.
So we have Nelson, Fiziev, and Vettori. As I mentioned in my breakdown, Nelson, I think, he's probably the, shakiest leg on the parlay, if I have to be completely transparent and honest. But that's only because of his style of fighting. He has that hands down to the side style. And at times that can be dangerous against a Brian Barberena who, picks and pokes and throws a lot of volume. But in the end, I think Nelson gets it to the ground, plays smart, and gets us the dub. And Fiziev, of course, I'm high on him. Like, if you were in the chats, I'm gonna put a substantial amount of money on him. And Vettori, I think he gets it done. He's just a sharper fighter, and Roman has never been at these heights, so he's gonna get burned by the sun.
Terrific. All right, we've gone through the full card. You've heard Drew's expert analysis and picks. Drew, where can the people find more of your work? And if they want to chat with you, where can they do that?
So if you want to chat with me, you can find me at the FTN Bets Discord, at the BettorWays Discord. I'm always active in those chat rooms. If not, you can find me at Twitter. I believe my handle is down there. If not, it's Jujitero. JIU T, the number 3 R and 0. That's that. And then
in the video description as well, just so you can find that easily.
And also on Picket, where I'm also a member there now, at Jiu-Jitsu, where you can find me. So, and my DMs are always open, dude. So if you want to chat fights, it's one of the things I love to do. So hit me up.
That's perfect. Awesome, Drew. We will both be active in the BettorWays Discord during fight night, talking about how our bets are doing and me trying to figure out what's going on. And Drew will be letting me know how we're doing. Drew, thank you so much for being here. Also, I want to highlight that people can find some bonus content. You're going to have some DFS plays, some prize pick stuff, more coming. So make sure you're following Drew and all of his work. Drew, thank you so much for being here. Any final thoughts for the fans?
Yeah, since you mentioned the DFS and prize picks, I also have those breakdowns coming out soon. I have a betting breakdown that I put out weekly for ftnbets.com. You can use FTN MMA all caps at the checkout window for a discount today. And as you said, man, thank you so much for having me on the show. Thank you so much for letting me do this. And let's go cash some bets, man. Let's have some fun.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy your fight night.